You give them an hour of your time, it gives them a week's worth of joy. That's the way I say it.
On this episode of Garry Talks, I'm joined by Korina Duffy, founder of Eco Fitness, where health, community and sustainability go hand in hand. From planting trees on the Aran Islands to creating opportunities for people with disabilities to stay active, Korina is on a mission to connect people, protect the planet and foster a stronger sense of community.
The Arctic Circle was on my vision board, but nothing around it, just Arctic Circle. And I then knew that day I was on something. So then I started to get a bit more, how can I make this better? How can I make this more of an event? How can I make this work? Like a cliche in all of the days, like how can we give back to the planet? Because we're kind of wrecking it a bit now.
This is a GK Media podcast.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Korina Duffy, welcome back to Garry Talks. Thanks so much for coming back into studio to join me. It's been a year since you're last in here. Episode 102, Horses, Hotels and Homelessness. And what an episode. It went to number 1, the show that week. And we got such a fantastic reaction to it. And I think the last time I met you then in person was I was talking to my best mate in Sheridan's in Knocknacarra, and I was telling him about the podcast and about your episode. And sure enough, you walk.
I walked past you and I said, "Oh, you Gary." I'm never over this side of town.
Talking about you right now. Because Korina lives in Dublin, for those who don't know. But,
yeah, and I happened to be just down in Galway, and I said, I haven't been in Sheridan's in years.
Yeah.
Just happened to be passing and went in, and there you are.
And I'm hardly ever out as well. So.
And I'm the same. I'm rarely out. Yeah. So that was the gas.
And we ended the last episode saying we didn't actually get to talk about anything that we intended to talk about. So that's the intention today now.
Perfect.
To talk about all the amazing stuff that you've been doing over the last year since I spoke to you last. If people haven't heard episode 102, I highly recommend you go back and listen to it because Korina's story is just so powerful. She's a single parent. She has experienced homelessness, alcohol addiction, financial instability, a very, very tough journey Korina has had. But the thing about it is you are an amazing inspiration because what you have done for yourself and what you're doing for others is just so commendable.
Oh, Jesus, Gary.
So I want people to hear about all the amazing things that you have been doing over the past year and the lessons that you have learned and so on. And one of the things, and I mentioned there about you've experienced homelessness. Let's kick it off on a high because you now have gotten the keys to your own home.
Yeah, well, not my own home just yet now, but yeah, I had to move recently. And as you know yourself, it's very hard to get a house anywhere. And yeah, managed to get a house that I'm not working from and it's just a home.
Yeah, great.
So this is the first time that I've had a house that's a home and that I'm not working from it from some degree, shape or form, which is brilliant. This is the first time since the kids were small. So it's mad. I can actually go inside the door and go, I don't have to clean this. I don't have to do anything. This is just a home. Yeah, so it's deadly.
So what's the difference between this home then and the last one?
So the last one, I was working from home. There was a studio at the back of the house, a small PT studio as well. And there was constantly people coming and going from the back. They had their own way in and all that. But it was more or less, it was like a business as well. Do you know, that kind of way on top of what I was doing. So this is different. It's just a home. Going in, shut the door, that's it.
Yeah,
it can stay dirty if it wants. It doesn't have to be hoovered for a week if I don't have to. So yeah, it's deadly.
So I want to talk about Eco Fitness and I want to talk about Club Soda and all the different activities and initiatives and events as well that you have been doing. But let's just go back to the fitness side of things. Eco Fitness, what has been happening?
A lot. Yeah, a lot.
You built the team as well.
Yeah, we built the team as well. So yeah, we have, there's 6 instructors now. There was 7. One of them ended up going out on her own only recently, which is amazing. I'd never hold anyone back. I was delighted. I'm great. It's probably the next step now that you go off on your own, but she still comes back and covers the holiday cover and all that. So we have 6 solid team members now, which means that I can grow a little bit more and take on more projects as well, which we have been doing. So since last year, the team has grown. We still have the studio in Perrystown, and now that we've acquired a gym in the evening times as well, locally in Crumlin. It's college during the day and we took it over in the evening times.
Okay.
So we've that now as well, and the members are building up there as well. We had another location, but I actually pulled that only last week to kind of bring it to, we'll say, to 2 locations because it's easier for us to manage. And just kind of looking at it and to reassess things. And just only about 2 weeks ago, like, you know, everyone thinks, oh, business is going great, but sometimes you have to reassess.
No, that's brilliant though, because everyone likes to say, oh, everything's great and expanding, but sometimes when you expand, it's not the right expansion.
It's not the right expansion, yeah. And even like I had a melter 2 weeks ago because we only took on the new gym in Crumlin, which is brilliant, 8 weeks ago. And it is great. It's perfect. It's exactly what we need to expand. But then I had a bit of a melter going, okay, hold on, what's going on here? Things aren't going the way I wanted to go financially. We need to reassess. And myself and Mairead, who works for me, just did a quick recess. Who was going where, what members were using what. Because when members sign up to us, they can use any facility that we have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a Roman membership.
Yeah.
So after doing quick numbers, I said, okay, something has to go and it has to be that location. So we kind of just did it slowly with the members going, look, we reassessed it. We're just sticking to the original and the new gym that we have. Because there's other things I want to build as well. Like I still have my online app, which kind of had got an influx of people over the summer because we sponsored a podcast and stuff like that. So there's still a lot going on within the business that we kind of, I had a melter. I was the full day going, right, ringing banks, what are we doing? What's working, what isn't working? Mairead, the accountant, I don't know, maybe she's pregnant, didn't hear from her. So I had to figure things out myself. She could be gone on maternity leave. So yeah, just put pen to paper, went right.
And talk to me about the pride then when you're making a decision like that.
Yeah, like I suppose if this was a few years ago, the ego would have been dented a lot because it meant that I had to go back in teaching some classes as well to kind of make things work and to kind of pull back financially with the business to build up the nest egg again because I've spread myself too thin.
Yeah.
So if it was a few years ago, my pride would have been dented that I'm back in the room as such or back working on the ground. But you know what? I kind of took it on the chin and went, no, I have to do this to get to this. And it kind of worked out well after talking to Mairead. She was like, well, Korina, I'll be honest with you. I felt like we haven't seen you in a while because you're building so many things. I feel like I haven't seen you and where's Korina gone from Ecofitness? And I went, okay, Mammy's gone. I need to come back in. So I kind of felt, okay, it's the right thing to do as well. And did a few cutbacks, all of that kind of crack. The girl that was building her own business, I said, look, I think you should focus on that. I'm going to take back your classes. And it worked out well. And by even clawing that back, within the space of 3 weeks, like a few thousand's already built up again. You know, it's mad. But it did take a bit of, if it's a few years ago, the dent would have been there with the ego. But I went, no, like I've wages to pay. Like these guys are really committed to me, the team. If I don't do this, their wages mightn't get paid in a few months. And this is the way you kind of have to look at it. And being back in, I just needed to reframe it of going, okay, yeah, my time's been taken away from building other things, but what's the main, what you need to do, Korina, to make this work? And Ecofitness is always going to be the baby, so we need to come back in.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, because I've had that issue as well where I started off as a sole trader back in 2013, and then I started building the team. And as you're building the team, you're nearly edging yourself more out of the organization.
You're nearly working your way out of it.
Yeah, well, you're trying to focus on bigger impact stuff, you know, and the greater picture. And I suppose when you're working on when it's just yourself, you're focusing on the work that you have in at the moment. Whereas when you can step out of that, you can focus on creating a funnel of work to be ongoing and so on. But then there is this thing of, oh, you know, where are you? Or what are you at? And we need you back in. And
we miss you.
What
are you doing?
And even sometimes that might happen with a client where it's like, oh, are you not coming to the shoot? And it's like, well, no, I don't really do the video shoots anymore. That was like 3 years ago. And and it's just trying to do that transition and that balance. And it is very difficult because you're trying to grow, but you're trying to keep the core of what it was when it was set up and so on. And
and it is difficult. But I have to say, like, I was teaching classes anyway because I'd never not teach. So I was teaching very minimal classes because the team was doing it. And they're very good. They love them. And it took a while to get those people that has the same values as me for the clients because it's very important because they're paying money for us to mind them and to feel like they're part of something, you know, that kind of way. And when you lose that, you lose members. And then you have to reassess, go, okay, what's going on? Now, I was very lucky in the sense that the member fall off wasn't much anyway, but I knew I was distancing myself probably a bit too much from the core, which is eco-fitness. So now that I'm back in, I'm like, I feel like I'm I'm connected again, because I'm like, oh, what's the crack? What's going on? And I was like, geez, Korina, sure, I missed this crack.
Yeah.
What's a big deal teaching 3 more classes? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's just managing my time a bit more. That's all.
So what's like the big picture stuff that you are trying to focus on and build a nest egg towards?
So the bigger picture is obviously eco-fitness is, I only had a conversation about this the last day when I was getting rid of the other location. I had a chat and I was like, do you know what? I want to be back in the parish. That's exactly how I described it. Why am I filtering myself out with these studios when it's not the bigger picture? And the bigger, like, I want to keep the parish and always have that nest egg there and have the community and the members. And that's the core value. And why am I dispersing that? Because I'm dispersing my energy and dispersing the expertise and dispersing the feeling of people belonging to something bigger than themselves. Do you know, that kind of way? And they only feel belong to something if they feel they're seen and heard within the community.
Yeah.
So I was back to the parish now, lads, and that's it. And I even felt like I needed that personally for myself. That feeling belonged to myself as well in the parish. So now that's the bigger picture for eco-fitness is work on our parish, because the Crumlin studio and Perrystown are only like a 6-minute drive from each other, but Dublin's so vast. It's long, it works well because there's so many, like there's 30,000 people within that 6-minute drive.
Well, yeah.
But like, that's the parish for me now. And I suppose before, like I was kind of going, oh, it's not a great area, blah, blah, blah. But like nowhere in Dublin's a great area anymore. And in my own self, I was like, we're going to make this work because that's our parish now. And that's it. So eco-fitness is staying there. We'll build up the community there. We're doing community projects within the community now. I'm starting to work with the council, meeting with them on Monday as well. We've done great work with them. Like, it's great. I don't know, did we mention? So eco-fitness has its core workout classes. I don't know, there's like 30 odd a week in both locations. Strength, conditioning, Pilates, all of that. It's a membership based like a regular gym, but we're the coaches that look after you. Not only from the inside, from the classes, but on the coaching app and check-ins and minding them and where we're going and giving them plans. So that's that. But within the platform then I have other side classes that are kind of separate, but they've their own identity, like adaptive fitness. So I think, did we mention that?
No,
we
didn't
mention that about that. So this is the key important class here that kind of has catapulted into other adventures within the council, the South Dublin Council, South Dublin Active, which are doing great work with funding and grants with the fitness and getting people's well-being up within the communities, which is right up my street. So we started adaptive fitness last year for wheelchair users and people with disabilities.
Brilliant.
I just had the idea because, as you know, from my brother Ray, sometimes when you're so far away, you kind of feel guilty and you're like, I'm not really doing anything. But if I can do something within a community, kind of feel like I'm still doing something. Do you know, that kind of way? So I said to Shauna, who's one of my instructors, because she kind of works with neurodiversity kids anyway. And I said, I'd love to do something for our community for the wheelchairs. I just see them going around the place, but we're not doing anything for them. And I'm pretty sure I could get funding for this as well to make it work and actually get the government's backing so we can hopefully make something bigger out of it. And anyway, we started the class. Didn't know what we're at, Garry, right? But I said, feck it. Rang my insurance company, as you do. I said, how will we make this work? Am I insurable for this crack? They were like, if you meet these criterias. And like, the reason I'm saying this in this podcast, I suppose, and I want to speak about it, I suppose it's coming up. I spoke to the council about it this week going, we've the blueprint now for this, and there's no reason why every community hall or every community person can't run this class, because we've the blueprint and we'll give it to you, because we can't be everywhere. And if the government's willing to partly fund it, why not? And this is what I'm speaking with the council now on Monday of going how we can like gear up to create more initiatives with a little bit of funding that's there, that we can help other people get all the community fit and healthy regardless of their ability, and make it inclusive to everyone. So we started Adaptive Fit, about 25 turned up. I sent an email to the council. I said, you're paying for this, lads. So lovely, nice worded email going, you're paying for this. I'm running it, you're funding it, and let's see where it goes, because it's well needed. And do you know what? They got back to me and said, Grant, we'll fund it for the first while. Let's see how it goes. And now the funding is just covering the rent of the classes. Look, we could have done it ourselves, but I didn't want the people paying for it. I didn't want the users paying for it. I wanted no barriers, let them in the door and make it easy for them to come in. And if it works, then we'll figure out how to make it more sustainable for the government and for us as well. So yeah, like it started off with like 30 people. Like obviously we got onto the local hubs. Cheeverstown. There's loads of names around the place where wheelchair users go, we'll say for daycare centres, we'll say to get them out into the community. So obviously I emailed all them, got all them on board, they loved it. But if even if you just go onto the Instagram page, right, the smiles, like you give them an hour of your time, it gives them a week's worth of joy. That's the way I say it. Because they come in, we know their names, they're making friends. Like we go around being clowns. Shauna does the dancing and I be the clown on the floor, basically. What's the crack? High five and bringing the wheelchairs together, making them high five, making them feel like they're belonged, getting the carers, because the carers have to be there with them. The carers get involved, and as I said to carers, it's our class as well.
Yeah.
There's a dance teacher there, we're having the crack, we're doing YNCA, just come on, we have the crack. So now we've up to 69 users.
Brilliant.
And the carers, so about 120 in that particular class, and we've set up a second location. And the second location, we had a meeting this week, the Pride Awards of Ireland. We're part of that now with this community centre for the Adaptive Fit class. Their judges were only in looking at our class yesterday, and they're going, can't believe this is actually happening. This is a class. And I had them dancing. I said, throw off that suit jacket, lads, and come on, you're coming in, letting the barriers down.
It's coming from a really good place where you want to do something for people in your community rather than saying, okay, I think there's a money-making scheme here that I can create.
Yeah, it has to be from the heart first.
Yeah.
And I say this to everybody and I get in trouble all the time. Like I get in trouble all the time. And even from one of the people in the council were like, listen, you have to make money here as well, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I always say it, if you do it for the good of everyone first, the money will 100% follow.
Yeah.
And the sign is on because now we're having a meeting now with the council and they're getting eco-fitness involved in more projects for girls in schools and all that, which means I can bring my team in and I can do the pilot with them, but then I can see how the team can manage these programs then when I'm not even there.
Yeah.
So like, you kind of have to look at the bigger picture. And I was only saying this to Michael come down the car. Other people look at the quick €250. Oh, sure, look what why would I do that? I'll get €250 for these 2 hours. And I'm like, but you have to look at the bigger picture. How can you bring joy with your profession that you do to the wider community outside of yourself that's helping others? And the money will definitely follow. Yeah. And like it is.
If you're doing something just for the money, it's great at the start.
Yeah.
But then it does have this inner conflict with you.
Yeah.
Where you're not enjoying, you're getting up, you're going to work, but you're just not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And you start hating what you're doing and, you start hating your life and the decisions you've made, and it's...
Your energy saps.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you're dealing with rental airplanes, it's different, and the financial service and the bank, it's totally different. But when you're working with people, what me and you do, and this is obviously what we're put here on this planet for, we love it, it's different. You I feel like you have to put the heart and soul into it first, and then the money will follow. Obviously, I got it covered. Obviously, not stupid in that kind of sense with the business. We got it covered by the government and the grants. And then I was able to go, okay, everything's covered. The bills are covered. Now I can put all my energy into it and make it work, But obviously, when you're in a different company, it's different when you work in a bank. You have to think of the financial gain. You have to.
Yeah, but you can still talk and think about doing actual, real, meaningful work rather than just token gestures as well.
Yeah. And that's where the joy is, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Leaving a little mark.
Because you're really fulfilled then.
Yeah. So adaptive fitness, the plan there, eco-fitness is going to stay in its parish. That's what I've decided. I had bigger plans for it earlier on in the year. But obviously the business takes a bit of a turns and it grows legs and you're like, okay, what's working, what isn't working? So I'm happy enough not to disperse eco-fitness's studio's energy and keep that there because I love what we've built there at the parish. But now I can create, adaptive fitness has, I suppose, the ability to grow around Ireland in different areas based on the blueprint that we have. And that's what we're willing to share, and we're willing to work with the local authority going, this has to be everywhere. Like it has to be. And it's very simple to do. And just with the right people and the right energy from people that want to do it as well.
Yeah, because recently we were recording Irish Sign Language here at our green screen studio in Galway for a project with the HSE. So you have someone doing the sign language and then you have someone else interpreting it to make sure that they can understand the sign language. And just the joy it gave the team here to feel that it's just what we're doing here has purpose. You know,
Yeah.
it's a bigger picture. It's, you know, creating accessibility for more people, doing meaningful work. Just that joy
Yeah.
we got, as opposed to just it being another day's work.
Yeah.
And knowing that, you know, that little project we worked on is going to benefit someone else now.
Oh, 100%. And like I said this, like adaptive fitness is only one part of it. That I said it wasn't, I suppose it wasn't a profit-based project, but it was something I wanted to do. But what's catapulted from that is the council come to me going, Korina, we have this other project with the girls' schools. Would you like to get involved? Like, we think you're the right people for it. And I was like, absolutely. And then that way, then I was able to look at it from a business point of view going, this is going to keep the team going. Like, the team's excited about it. Steve's excited about it. Sean is excited about it. They're like, you can do this and this 4-week project. And then that gives them purpose. And it gives them a future with eco-fitness, even more of a solid future where they see growth. Because they want growth. Everyone wants a bit of growth.
And it's this thing of wanting growth, but making sure what you're doing is right. It's in line with what you want, and everyone else with you on the team is aligned with the same
values
goals and purpose
and values and all that. So that was Adaptive Fit, and
with eco fitness, then is it true that for every member you plant a tree?
Yes. All right. Yeah. So we'll get on to the trees, right? So I always like to have something fun outside of the business. It keeps me going, like the bit of messing around with the DJ decks or whatever and all that crack, which I still plan on doing something with that. That's still one of my goals, is to be spinning.
You want to be the David Guetta of South Dublin.
Not South Dublin, but I still have a goal there to have the decks, like to kind of make that a hobby that's going to make money as well. I still have a goal there with that, but that's parked for the time being, because that's a bit of crack. It's a bit of, I'm always in the car going, that mix well with this. So that's my hobby.
The big tent then at the Galway Arts Festival, hopefully.
Well, we'll get on to that in a minute. We have done Wellfest with Eco Fitness. We have done Elevate. We have done EP. We were in all these festivals with Eco Fitness with Cardio Rave.
Oh, wow.
We'll get on to that now in a minute. Good. So we have I put that in my goals 5 years ago, that I wanted to do Wellfest and I wanted to do EP and all these festivals, but I didn't know how we were going to do it. But we did it this year. We did Wellfest this year, we did EP this year, and Elevate as well with Eco Fitness. I'll get on to that in a minute. Fantastic. It was mad. I can't believe we ticked this off the list, and it was mad how it happened. So the trees, we plant a tree for every member. Not a lot of people know about this. So I think we just said on the last podcast how Eco Fitness got its name kind of during COVID, and kind of like, I don't know, we didn't really get into it.
We didn't get a chance to get into anything.
Yeah, because everyone goes, where did Eco Fitness, as in ECO Fitness, get its name? So it used to be called Korina Duffy Fitness, which my bank account still have that name. I have to change it. But again, during COVID, the lockdown, I was doing more online work, more online fitness. And I was working with a business coach at the time. And I was like, look, kind of like that. I want to be a bit more meaningful. And my vision is how can we make things more sustainable, not only within the fitness industry, but also sustainable as in, like, a cliche in all the days, like, how can we give back to the planet? Because we're kind of wrecking it a bit now, like with all these trips that we're doing and half marathons abroad and all that kind of crack. And it was during COVID, I saw, it was a fake video I found out afterwards, which was a bit kind of silly at the time. I saw a video of, what's the place in Italy where the water, Venice, that there was dolphins swimming through Venice.
Right, okay.
It was fake news, lads. But sure, I was like, because I was nearly in Venice because we got close to it. And I was like, I can't believe dolphins are swimming in Venice. We're wrecking the shop, lads.
Oh, was this during COVID?
During COVID.
Yeah,
there was
the water was
boats.
so clean.
It was so clean because it's usually so dirty.
That's right, yeah.
But it was fake news, lads, anyway. So I remember working with the business coach at the time, and I said,
Donald was right all the time with this fake news that's out there, you know.
Fake news, like, and it was all AI was back then. I didn't even know AI was back then. So I came up with Eco Fitness. And the whole we'll say, story around Eco Fitness back then was, and I did have a dolphin in my logo at the time, we won't get into it. Oh, right. I had to get rid of it. The business coach agreed on it as well. I was like, how did you agree on this? Looking back, I'm like, what was I thinking? It looked like I was actually on it, kind of striding it, going around the place. But anyway, Eco Fitness got its name was because we were working out from home. We did the stats in it. We worked with my friend Mike, who is in the energy renewable systems, which we spoke about just before we come on the podcast. And I said, Mike, how much CO2 and emissions are we saving by not driving to the gym? 3 or 5 times a week I was doing the workouts at this stage, 30 minutes at home. how much are we saving, so we can do the stats for the members, how much CO2 we're saving. And God, we were saving a lot of CO2 a year. Like by doing the workouts, it was equivalent to 7,500 plastic bottles a year.
Wow.
And then I said, okay, if we add in active travel to that and cycle to the shop and blah, 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 how much are we saving? So eco-fitness has been neutral, because I still learn all the terms. Mike is teaching me. Eco-fitness has been neutral the last few years with its CO2 emissions, and all the trips that we go on and all the cars journeys I go on driving around the country with the singles walks and all that. It's been neutral because we do the best way to save your CO2 is actually ditch your car. There's a study done on this in London. It's called active travel. Ditch your car, get the bus or cycle, and also step challenges. So if anyone's listening to this and you own a gym or you have an office, the best way to drop your CO2, especially if you have someone working within that area, which every big company does now at this stage, for the green flags and all this crack, 7-day step challenges is what brings down the CO2 in companies, and planting trees. They're the two things. Active travel and planting trees. So if any company's listening to this and you're working on your green flag or you're working on your CO2, get on to us. Like, I'm one of the directors now of Cron, which is the oldest tree charity of Ireland. I got on the board last year and we've done great crack since.
Brilliant.
Great crack with them since. I said, what am I doing going on this board, lads?
Because I think we were talking about it off air the last time.
Yeah.
Matt, that you were.
And this is where the trees is coming into it. I was planting trees for my members anyway before I went on to Cron. But I met one of the Cron directors on at my events the last few years, or the last year and a half, and he's been asking me, and I said, what would I be doing going on the board? Like, what could I give to the board that would be beneficial to you? And he goes, your energy and your ideas and your events, I do think you can bring something to it. And I said, Grant, I'll go on it, but I'm not giving you that much time. And sure, end up giving them loads of time because the crack's 90.
And do you know how many trees you've planted now through Eco-Fitness?
Oh, Jesus, there's definitely a few thousand.
Wow.
And now that we started
working...
working...
Where do you plant them? Like, how does that work?
So I was donating to a company first before I started, and I switched over to Cron myself.
Okay.
So I was donating to a company, I can't remember the name of it again, but I was donating every year and they were planting 250 trees a month for me, part of Eco-Fitness. But now that I'm a director of Cron, I moved my membership over there, which is not much, lads. It's like 200, 150 a year, but they plant so many trees for you as a company. But now that I'm one of the directors, one of my roles that I took on was that I wanted to plant trees in Ireland, and we planted trees abroad in South America as well. We'll get on to that in a minute. Yeah. But I wanted to plant so many trees in Ireland, but have history tied to it and have it in a historic place and have kids involved, which we did. So out of thin air, I created projects in the Aran Islands. We planted 350 trees with Cron in March this year in the Aran Islands, and we got the kids to plant them, educated the kids, did a song for the kids. One of the other education coordinators plays guitar. So I did up a poem. He sang the music to it, or sang the lyrics to it, brought it into school, gave them their own unique song about the trees being their friend. It's on Instagram. Basically, I did up a poem going, how can we make this tree project unique for the Aran Islands, for the kids? Obviously, they're going to leave the island, come back. And I wanted them to say that the trees that they plant, they're always going to be there. Yeah. So if they leave and have kids, they can bring the kids back to these trees and go, we planted these. Yeah. Or if they leave and become this amazing scientist and leave the island but come back, then go to the trees and bring their kids or go their girlfriends or their wife and go, we planted these trees. So the poem was based around, you'll go and you'll spread your wings, but we'll always be here for you at the trees as their friend.
Brilliant.
A Friend to Me was the name of the project in the Aran Islands. And that's something that I came up with because Cron signed a deal with Brown Thomas over the next 10 years. Everyone's given out that Brown Thomas is charging for their 70-cent bags. Cron, I came in and I said, okay, how can we utilise this initiative for Brown Thomas to make it worthwhile for the community? And that's where I came up with these historical places and really cool places like Aran Islands to plant trees and bring the community together. So that makes it more meaningful then that, okay, Brown Thomas just isn't giving us just money for trees to throw at the side of a mountain, which some people would argue forestry, which is a big kind of political thing going on in the tree place, in the tree world, I suppose, now that I'm learning about it, which has its place. But I wanted the money to go into communities or someone with a good story. Like I met a guy on one of the singles walks that I organise, and he said, listen, we bring horses in that are going to their I suppose, end of life. There's our race horses. Sure, look at, you know.
We can call this. We can put horses into the title episode.
We could put horses into this as well. So I met a guy on one of the walks, and he said he was kind of nervous coming. I know I'm swapping and changing, but anyway, I said to him, "I can get you trees for your horses. It's a good story. Cron will definitely support that, and they will be free, and I'll get people to help you plant them." He skipped out of that singles walk. He didn't care whether he got a number. He was like, "There's a reason I was meant to meet you today," and that just was sparking a conversation and going. Knew he was nervous. Looking, what do you do anyway? What's the crack? And then he told me to crack it out. I can give you trees. This is a great story.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "What do you mean I can give you trees now? We're doing this initiative and projects, and this is a great story. And because it's a great story and it's given back, we can definitely give you the trees as part of the project."
And like, how do you get all these 350 trees over to the Aran Islands?
Now, Gary, I think you mentioned somebody there earlier on, and I'm actually going to give him a shout out on this podcast because I actually have to do a post from. So when I was out in the Aran Islands last year, I got talking to Avril's husband. Avril is over the energy or something over there. Avril works over there anyway. That's all I know, Avril, and I don't know her credentials. But her husband, he was the guide that brought us around on the cycle tour. So when I was organising my own trip for my own group, we did a cycle tour and all that. And when I was talking to the guide, I was saying, there was no trees on the Aran Islands. What's the crack with trees? And at this stage, we had the group over there last October, I think it was, or April or September. And at this stage, I was kind of only at the beginning of my journey as a director with Cron. So I was going, how am I going to make this job worthwhile for me? Like, and how can I make an impact and blah, blah, blah. I was finding my feet of what can I do as this role? And he said, Irish, there's no trees because they all cut them down for firewood back in the day because they had no money. And I went to him, what's the block like? And he said, well, the block is how we get the trees on the island and who's going to fund them. And I went, yeah. And I always kept that at the back of my head. So then I said, listen, if I got you trees on the island, what's the crack? Like, who could you put me in contact with? And he goes, oh, my wife, Avril, is over all of this. And I went, Grant, give me Avril's number. Literally rang Avril the next day, set up a call, got on to Pader. Pader's the chairman of Cron. Pader, we're getting trees on this island and that's the end of it, right? Don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. We're getting the kids involved and we're going to make a big story out of this and a bit of crack. And not only that, I'm putting a time capsule in that place as well.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to come back in 10 years' time and see how the trees are developing and how the community has developed and what impact we could have in this community. And he was like, love it, deadly, go on. I knew, well, that's why we brought you on the board. So anyway, rang Avril. Avril loved the idea. She goes, would you believe it? That's on our list to get trees on the island, but it's not it's where we get the resources. I said, I can get you the trees. So anyway, cut a long story short, Gary, I got the trees. We wanted 1,000.
Think about it, though, like you're a fitness instructor, running gyms in Dublin, and next thing you're on the phone to someone saying, I can get you 350 trees over to the Aran Islands.
1,000 I wanted, but she said, so hold your horses now. So we wanted 1,000. But she said, we have land for you. It's called Garran Agree. It's beside the school. It's waterlogged. The kids used to play in it. And I said, I know it because we passed it with our trips, because that was my second time bringing a group over there to the Aran Islands, a singles group. And I said, I know it. And I said, feck it, let's make it happen. And she goes, grand. I said, if I get the trees on it, I said, have you a mini digger? And she goes, we don't. I said, feck it, I'll get you a mini digger as well. If I can get you the mini digger and I can get you the trees, can you get me the manpower to dig the holes with the mini digger? And can you get me the kids involved that we make a big song and dance and a bit of crack out of this and make it worthwhile for the Brown Thomas gig and make it more meaningful? And she goes, sound. And that was it. So between the jigs and the reels, she didn't hear from me for a while because I had other things going on. Ended up organising other tree planters. Yeah. Ended up, well, the way I look at it is when we've a date set and I've things in motion, it'll just happen. And I forget about it then. Yeah. And then we kind of make it happen then kind of towards the end or coming towards the project, because there's no point like doing it now. What's the point? Because things could change. So 4 weeks for the project, I really zone in then and go, we're making this happen. So about 4 weeks for the project, I was going, geez, we better organise. Padre, are we actually doing this? Ringing Aran, is this happening now? Because I'm coming out. And she was like, yeah, I'm just waiting on you. And I said, we've no bloody mini digger. Where the hell I get a mini digger? So I rang my brother and I said, where'll I get a mini digger and we're not paying for it? Because it's a community project. We need to get it sponsored. Fair play to Leonard Group. Leonard Group in Galway who hires diggers and all that kind of crack. So I'm definitely giving him a shout out if that's okay. Because I was meant to get him in the newspaper, but the story passed at this stage. But I think we probably will get a now newspaper shout out because it's a deadly story.
Yeah.
The kids and everything. And I am going to work on that because we're going back next year. And Leonard's getting a shout because I rang Leonard and he was there, what do you want this mini digger for? I said, can you get me a mini digger on the island of Inishmore? Look, we'll get a driver over there. Are you happy enough? Told him the project and he goes, absolutely. No fee, we'll get you the mini digger. So to be fair, the Aran and all them paid for the boat. Leonard got the mini digger to the port. The mini digger went over, great job. The holes got dug, but there was one thing missing before it went over.
Don't say trees.
No, an auger. I said
what?
an auger or an auger or something, a thing that it's like a big drill piece that goes onto the.
Okay.
Never heard of it anyway. To Google it. I was in the middle of the Arctic Circle at this stage, right? Because I was over there doing a challenge with the Arctic Circle, sitting in a cabin going, how am I going to get an auger next week in the Aran Islands? We're screwed now because if we don't have this auger to dig the hole, we don't have enough manpower over there. So I rang my brother. My brother goes, I don't know where you're going to get an auger. Rang Leonard. Leonard goes, we've no augers. Rang Dad. I said, Dad, where will I get an auger? How big is the mini digger? Blah, blah, blah. Dad goes, I know a lad in Craigmore. I said, he'd hardly give it to me, would he? So I rang him and I told him the crack and I told him the project. He goes, go on, I'll give it to you. But he goes, you have to pick it up. So Dad ended up picking it up in the van, dropping it into Leonard. Stay safe. We got an auger and a mini digger over there in Islands. A lovely guy who's over in the board of the energy saving group over there in Islands dug the hole for us. Went over. Project, it was deadly. The guy supplying the trees got the trees over there. Again, everyone in there in Islands helped bring the trees to the area, laid them all out, and by the time we got there, we'd it all planned out, to be fair. We'd it all mapped out where the trees were going, so it was very well planned.
Yeah.
So it's a case of get over there, and all the kids, we were meant to get the secondary school involved. The national school kids had the trees planted within 2.5 hours. They left nothing for anybody else because they were meant to leave trees for my group who was coming over the next day. The singles group for the bit of crack. Nothing was left. The kids had whole trees planted. And
so they're hardy out in the Aran Islands.
They're hardy.
Used to work.
So that was the Aran Islands, little capsule. So we'll go back and open that in 10 years' time. We made a bit of a community thing out of it. And we're going back this year again, planting in another island because Averill's over all these islands. So I said, Averill. So I checked in with Averill only 2 weeks ago about the trees. So how are the trees doing? I said, I have another project that I'm working on. I want your feedback or what you think would it work for Inishmore. And she goes, would you believe it? Out of 350 trees, only about 5 of them fell off. I said, you're kidding me. So that just goes to show, I suppose, the quality of the trees we got in, number one, because we didn't scrimp on them, because we got other trees from another place. They got 5 other trees from another place. They all died. So the important thing was the quality of it, of the money in Brown Thomas is investing, and the name of Aran as well that's been put to it. And my name as well is Ecofitness. it's still Ecofitness's name that's kind of coming around as well.
Yeah.
So she said, listen, I said, I have a mad idea, Averill. And she goes, what's the mad idea? I said, I'd love to surround Ireland with trees, with Aran and Ecofitness. And I said, she goes, Korina, I manage these islands, the inhabited islands. I said, you do not? And she goes, yeah, I manage like how the resources for them and the energy and all this crack. And I said, do you think is it possible? And she goes, absolutely. I said, give me a list of all the inhabited islands in Ireland and I'll make it my business over the next 9 years that's left of this project that we do an island once a year and we get the community involved and make a bit of crack out of it.
It's amazing when positive, visionary, proactive people get together. What they can do for communities.
Yeah, but it wasn't just me now. I planted
But that's what I'm saying. It's when you all get together,
we all
what
got
you
together.
do for the greater good of everyone.
Yeah,
It's
Averill's
fantastic.
eyes lit up. She goes, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
But like the Averill and the team over in Aran Islands, and like it didn't take much. And that's what I say to people. It looked like a bigger job than what it was. Well, maybe it's not much to me. Sending a few emails, doing a few calls, it's not much to me. Like not begging, but just saying, lads, look, would you give us an old mini digger there for the crack and making a bit of crack out of it? And for them, I suppose it takes a village for people to see this is actually giving back. And Leonard and the guy with the auger, they didn't have to do that. Your man had the mini digger spotless because Dad went in and took a video and goes, I can't believe you made this happen, Korina. And I said, well, you're in there with an auger, so you made it happen as well. So everyone made it happen.
Together,
It was deadly. And then now it kind of catapulted in something bigger again.
And you mentioned the Arctic Circle and you mentioned singles.
Yeah.
And I know you're over in Paraguay as well.
Yeah.
So,
This was all since last October. Like,
I know.
I know.
So
I'm trying
people
to be
might
building a
understand
business.
why we didn't get to any of this in the last episode, because we were covering like a 20-year period in the previous one. We're just trying to cover 1 year now in this episode. Talk to me about all these places you've been to and why.
So when I was here last October, I knew I had the Arctic Circle booked in, but I didn't, when I book things in, I forget about them until they like that 4 weeks beforehand. Shit, Jesus Christ, what am I wearing to this thing? What are we bringing? Like, have we even the money raised? So in my vision board 5 years ago,
I love it.
yeah, I had a vision board 5 years ago, and what was on the vision board was, I suppose I can share it on Instagram if I find the picture again and share it to you or whatever. But on the vision board was travel. Hands, I had all different colour hands, like black, brown, from different cultures together in a circle. And to me, that meant communities from all areas and cultures around the world that I'll come together, and eventually eco-fitness will be bringing people together through something, movement or something anyway. It just happened to be movement and trees now at the moment.
Because this morning before you came in, I was thinking, what is that one thing about Korina that she loves to do? And my conclusion was, you love bringing people together.
Yeah, I do.
You know,
I do.
whether it's eco-fitness, planting trees, bringing singletons together. It's
community.
Bringing people together, yeah.
And for bringing them together, yeah. Then that's what someone said to me recently as well. Like, I get so much out of that.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen people, and even the wheelchair class, bringing 2 wheelchairs. It's hard because people have to be pushed. Even nowadays, people have to be pushed together, regardless if they're single and they're a wheelchair or there's disability. So the Arctic Circle was on my vision board, but nothing around it, just Arctic Circle. Hands wrapped around in a circle. The old Volkswagen camper van thing was on it as well. Swimming was on it because I really want to learn how to swim in the sea with no fear, which I actually did this year.
Oh, brilliant.
So everything got ticked off except for the house on the beach. But that's on
everyone's vision board.
Yeah. But come here, we'll push that on to next year. It's fine. But everything actually, Wellfest, all that, everything came to the vision this year. Like, everything just went.
From 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, the last few years, it was all, I went, oh my God, I did all of that, except for the house. But getting back to the Arctic Circle.
And just to talk about vision boards as well, how important they are. I came across my kind of wish list, shall we say, that I did at the 1st of January, and nearly everything on that has come true already for the end of this year.
No.
And I completely forgotten them. Like, I think when you do your wish list, you're putting your intentions out there into the universe of what you want, and you're aware of them. You've had clarity on them. So you're constantly striving for them.
Yeah.
But I'd forgotten specifically how I had written them down, and all the different ones I'd written down, and how they're all coming to fruition.
So important.
It's amazing.
Well, you could call them vision boards. Like, I've obviously business ones I do myself of goals, and like, look at the 12-month plan and work backwards. How are we going to do this? Are we running 28-day challenges? Are we running 6-week challenges? Does ads need to be put up? So that's business.
Yeah.
But then the fluffy stuff, as people call, there's no point working if you can't have the fluffy stuff. Do you know, as in the meaningful work. Like, so obviously the money has to come in, but the meaningful work then comes in the likes of what we spoke about there. And then having personal stuff like the Arctic Circle. So I got an email last year from a member of mine going, Korina, this is right up your street. It was for the Irish Heart Foundation, and it was the Arctic Circle. I made one phone call to the girl that was organising it, and I said, yeah, you don't even need to sell it to me. What do I need to do? €250 down payment. That's it, grand. I said, there you go. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, because at this stage I didn't have staff properly. And I said, how am I going to take, I had the Camino, because we bring groups to the Camino. So this was 24, and I was thinking, shit. So I'm a week off for the Camino. I'm a week off for the ski trip that I organised, and now I'm a week off for the Arctic Circle, all in the space of 5 weeks. I need to make shit happen with staff. And that made me work towards thinking about how I'm going to get staff. Now, they're self-employed staff, but they're still regular staff. Yeah. How am I going to make them? Where am I going to get them from? And I need to gear myself up so I can be gone. So that was a goal as well, a goal of mine last year. So I had to raise money, 6,500, but I got way more than that. Everyone pulled the cat out of the bag. And I did a few things myself to raise money for it within eco-fitness as well. I only kind of really zoned in on that in January this year, because I said, shit, I have no money raised. I'm going to the Arctic Circle in March, shite, or April. What am I doing here? Shit, in the middle of gone to Paraguay planting trees and all this mad stuff. But I pulled it out of the bag because I zoned in. And I said, right, this is it, we're raising this money, and I got 8.5 grand or something like that. Brilliant. We went away to the Arctic Circle this year with the Irish Heart Foundation, with 14 incredible women from all different walks of life. And I learned so much from them. And they learned so much from me as well. Should we the ball, like?
I just don't know how you do it. Like, there's so much you do.
Yeah.
There's so much you do. And then Club Soda, so the singletons as well. So I love Club Soda. It's sick of dating naps.
Sick of dating naps.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're doing events as well for singletons out there.
Yeah.
Getting people together.
If you think of eco-fitness as a little pool, it's a little pool, we'll say a little pond. And then branching off with eco-fitness then is where I wanted to bring in the bit of crack as well and give people other avenues. Like we have an annual ski trip now that we do, which is booked out again. And that's annual, so that's going nowhere. Obviously, I did all the little trips with eco-fitness like Connemara experiences, Aran Islands experiences. And look, they were all lovely and it was a bit of culture and all that. But now I know what works is the ski trip and maybe an annual fitness trip, which I will be organising next year, late next year to Cyprus or something, and keep it in time with eco-fitness. Because it's more value, let's face it, it's more value. They get more out of it, they get a holiday and all that crack. So the last few years I've been doing little weekends away with people as part of the business and they've been working out well. We've one now in October and this is the last Ireland one that I'll be doing in Clifton in the Abbey Glen, is it?
That's right, yeah.
Usher Road and all them. I love them over there. They're great crack. We run them up. It's great crack.
Yeah.
So our branching outside of eco-fitness is obviously the weekends away. We tie in the bit of culture, the bit of giving back with the trees. There's other things coming in the pipeline and then just a bit of crack. But as part of eco-fitness, obviously I saw a need I was single myself. I wanted to do single walks. So it first started off under eco-fitness umbrella, the single walks. It's 2.5 years ago was the first one up the Dublin Mountains. I said, fuck, jeez, sure, look, we'll give it a go anyway. And then I was like, do you know the way you worry about the little things, insurance, how we're going to work this, am I covered? I had to be always thinking about that thing, we're covered under this, rang the insurance, all this crack. Got all the logistics sorted anyway. And I said, right, we'll organise the first one, but I have to charge for it. I think I was charging €15 at the time. I said, where'll I go? And I said, okay, we'll go up the Dublin Mountains. We'll kill each other up there. Went up the Dublin Mountains. I think there was 24 people on the first walk. Pissing, bucketing, rain. And at this stage, I didn't have, because obviously it was the first one. It's like everything else. When you organise the first thing, you don't think about logistics, car park and how to get in there.
Yeah.
I had a plan B that if it was raining, we could go to the barn down the road with the coffee shop. But apart from that, I didn't have anything else learnt like I've learnt now. In the last 2.5 years, it's an actual proper event now with its own name and its own Instagram page and all of that kind of crack. It kind of grew legs because I learnt from my mistakes. How can we make this better? But anyway, not all the 24 people turned up because it was torrential rain, nearly yellow warning. And I was going, yes, what are we doing here? And I said, if people turn up to this, I'm onto something. And they did. One lad got a taxi from north side of Dublin, which cost him 60 quid to get over to me. I went, wow. I'm on something here. One girl travelled from Monaghan. Now at this stage, that was 2.5 years ago. So it was only still coming out of COVID. People weren't getting the connection. I wasn't getting the connection with anyone. I was like, I'm sick of talking to people online. Like, this is bullshit. Getting nowhere. The odd shift here and there, just getting nowhere with this crack, like, do you know what I mean? But I was like, if I'm pissed off with them, other people have to be. So I knew I was onto something that day up in the Dublin Mountains when cars arrived. And I was like, geez, I really didn't think this through. There's no space in this car park for us alone. It's tiny. And anyway, it was raining. So I went around to all the cars and I said, lads, plan B, do you want to go over to the coffee shop and we'll get a coffee? Because they'd paid me. I wanted to give them something. Yeah. And I said, here's the link. Here's where we're going. We went over to the coffee shop. Security guard was watching us all coming in because it's kind of like they do sheds. It's like, so we all got a coffee, went into this big barn and I turned on the music and I said, sure lads, we're here now. Let's have a bit of crack. And I said, we're here to mingle. You get talking. Girls, don't worry over there. We had the barn to ourselves because I said, security guard, can we have this to ourselves? He said, what are you doing? Pissing down rain, yellow warning nearly. I said, we're having a singles crack. And he went, you're kidding me. So then he was like, this is great. So he was like, what's going on here? And I then knew that day I was on something. So then I started to get a bit more, how can I make this better? 2.5 years later, it's now called Club Soda. How it got its name was, I was voice noting, which you know, Shane. Yeah. He's from Galway, my buddy Shane. I was like, we're good mates, the two of us. I was lying down in bed and I was voice noting Shane going, Shane, I'm sick of these date naps. And then I went, hold on. And I wrote it down. I said, I'll voice note you back. Sick of date naps. And then I went, SODA, Club Soda. Right. Happy days. Now, it didn't come Club Soda straight away. I was calling it Soda. And I said it to my fitness members in class. I said, lads, a bit of feedback, a bit of market research. I'm trying to come up with a different name for these singles walks, because they were kind of getting a bit pissed off that eco-fitness was, do you know, the wives were like, are we involved now in singles events as well?
Yeah.
So I needed to give it a separate identity. So I put it to my fitness members and I said, lads, I've come up with soda, but I have to be very careful with soda, with different things. What do you think? And one of the members, she's very good. She used to be she was retired principal. Very creative, very clever. And I could see the mouse ticking during class. And I said, Fanula, concentrate or you'll injure yourself. Don't be thinking about this. And after class, you want to have it. Club soda. And I went, that actually is deadly. So did all the branding up, work with a branding specialist, got it done up. But I've travelled everywhere with club soda. I've been to Cork, Killarney, Kerry, haven't been to Donegal. I've been to Sligo, Meath, Athlone, Kilkenny, Cavan, West Cork, even down to the little island off West Cork, which is everybody has to go and visit. But real cool places and real cool events.
And where have you had the best fun, do you think?
The best fun. I have to say Killarney. The Killarney and Kilkenny are always the best crack.
Yeah.
And Sligo, and Mayo was lovely. We went to Cong and Mayo, and like 60 people showed up, and we had a tea and coffee, bringing it back to the local hotel.
Yeah.
Tea, coffee, scones, a bit of mingle, speed dating while we're walking, a bit of crack, and it developed into cards. Everyone gets old-fashioned cards. Here's my number.
Okay.
Real cool club soda cards. So it developed into a really cool little business.
Yeah.
Just a little side business now.
Yeah.
But something fun for me.
Yeah.
That kind of way.
And it's still meaningful as well. Final 2 questions. Okay. What's the big plan?
Right. The big plan. I was only on about this coming down the road, right? The big plan. I obviously have personal goals I want to do myself to build a separate business. We'll talk about that again. We won't talk about it now, but when it happens.
Episode 3 then with you?
Yeah. I have big goals there that I'm like, if we can pull this off, this is deadly.
Cool.
So that's a separate thing that if I pull it off, I'd be like, Garry, we're coming back to an episode 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So that's separate.
Can you just, without giving us details, can you just what kind of category does it fall into?
Houses.
Cool. Okay.
Property.
Perfect.
Yeah, property. And it was always one thing that I wanted to do from a testing point of view of testing this vision board, testing drive, testing if you get the right people around you, can you make this happen?
Super.
From coming from nothing.
Yeah.
I'd be going to coming from nothing. How can we make this happen? So if that happens, that'll be another episode, but that's the goal.
Okay.
But eco-fitness, like I said, it's staying in the parish. Love my members, love all that. But the bigger goal now is work on, we'll say, the other little projects, the 3 projects for the next 9 years. But the biggest thing I want to work on is I want to work with the council now that we're in, get a big organisation to see my vision for health and fitness within the schools and within the areas like adaptive fitness, which now has its own brand identity, Adaptive Fit, and to work with them closely of going, how can we get people moving healthier a bit more? So I've all these little visions in my head and projects that, adaptive fitness started from nothing, a vision.
Yeah.
And now it's going to grow into something bigger. This working with the schools, another little project that it's only a pilot project and it's not my project, it's their project, but I'm coming in with them. But I've another little project in my head that I'm like, okay, if we can pilot this as well, when it comes to the food side of things with the schools and the parents and different things like that, if this pulls off as the pilot project, there's no reason why it can't be all over Ireland. That's the plan.
Excellent. So finally then, what does success look like to you?
We only spoke about this coming down the car as well. We did. You
should have recorded an episode in the car as well.
No, but I was only kind of thinking about it because, people might think that it's all about money. It's not. I want to test it. I'm happy as I am now. Getting my holidays to Ibiza, checking out when nobody even knows I'm in Ibiza, having really good people around me. I've really good people around me that has my back. But success to me means that if I can have my vision put out and it works and I can get other people bought into it and to spread it like wildfire, and even if it doesn't make money to me, but it helps, what success means to me is if I die, that I've left an imprint of something left behind me. that is still carrying on. The trees, like, come on, they're going to be here for another 100 years.
Yeah.
The kids in school, the adaptive fit. Like, if I can get this set up and all these little projects set up that other people can continue it on with the vision and the want and the love for it, happy days.
Brilliant.
It's not about the money, but I'm only testing the crack with the property. I want to test it.
Yeah.
That can we actually make this happen? And then just test it. It won't mean nothing to me. Okay, it'll be a nice retirement fund that I could be able to have a retreat somewhere or be able to put down my tools a little bit and actually do more community projects. That's the goal, is to be financially and time freedom, that I can do more visionary projects, that if it comes into my head and I think it works, that I'll have the time to work on it, if that makes sense.
Amazing. Amazing.
That's the goal.
Korina, you're fabulous. Continued success with everything, the multitude of things that you're doing.
We'll be back.
Of course you will. Thanks again.
Thanks, Garry.
This is a GK Media podcast.